American sports cars have a reassuringly predictable philosophy. More power, more noise, more everything.
When Ford gave us the Dark Horse, the new track-ready alternative to the Mustang GT, that's exactly what they delivered.
450 horsepower from a big V8, mean looks, and attitude by the bucket load.
But when the car arrived in the UK, well-known modifier, Clive Sutton, looked at it and said, "Aw, that's cute. It's more, but it's just not more enough."
This is the £165,000 Clive Sutton CS800DH. It takes the Mustang Dark Horse and pours nitroglycerin on top.
The specs are just mental. 5-litre Coyote V8, Whipple supercharger, custom everything, presents for days, and enough shove to knock your nan's socks off. You know the phrase, turn it up to 11. They turned it up to 800, pulled the pin and dropped it on the British countryside. This is a lot. This might actually be too much for Great Britain.
Before we discuss how this monster of a Mustang makes its extra power, we've got to talk about something far more important. The madness, the insanity, the sheer lunacy required to equip this car with this interior. Yes, Clive Sutton has done away with the standard interior and instead trimmed it in this lurid shade of blue. And it's definitely something, especially in the way it matches the blue detailing elsewhere. Blue on the brake calipers, blue on the custom mats, and blue on the badges in the seats.
It's mad, isn't it? It looks like a pimp's living room, or my nan's living room. Maybe my nan's a pimp. Anyway, we'll get to that later on. But there is so much blue in this car. This kind of suede Alcantara material is everywhere. It's on the center console, it's on the seats, it's on the headliner, all the way to the back of the car, even almost into the boot. We've got it on the dashboard, on the door cards. It's everywhere, and I'm here for it. You don't actually have to have it in blue. Clive Sutton just wanted to show what was possible with their reupholstering department, but yeah, I quite like it. These, by the way, are Recaro racing bucket seats, and they're very good at holding you in place. The one thing they're normally not very good at is providing heating and cooling, but Clive Sutton's done something very clever. They've actually kept the standard base from the Dark Horse and mounted the Recaros on top of it, thus maintaining the electronics to provide you with heating and cooling. So they're very, very supportive and also still quite comfortable. One other thing I want to talk about is this handbrake. It might look like a manual handbrake. It's not, it's fully electronic. But what you do is you raise it to activate the handbrake and push it to deactivate the handbrake. Very clever, and apparently also works a bit like a hydraulic handbrake for you to initiate drifts. And the other big thing is, of course, it gives you yet another excuse to add even more blue.
The exterior, meanwhile, is in this case very black, although you can of course have it in a variety of colors. What makes this Sutton Mustang stand out though is a custom body kit and carbon. Lots and lots of carbon.
Look at this. It's got a carbon rear wing, and a massive one at that. This is gonna get you free membership to the big Wang Gang for life, trust me. It's also quite practical though, because it doubles up as a kind of handle for opening and closing the boot. That's quite cool. Down the bottom, we've got a massive carbon diffuser. It looks glorious, but I'm questioning how expensive this might get, because if someone reverses into you at a supermarket, that's gonna shatter and cost you an arm and a leg to repair. It does look good though, especially around these exhaust pipes, and the whole thing is giving me Nissan GTR vibes. Very cool. We're gonna hear more from that in just a second, but right now, let's go on more of a carbon hunt around the side of the car. So down here, we've got carbon side skirts. Those look really cool. Warn your children though, not to step on those to get into the car, because that could get expensive again. I wish it did have carbon mirrors, but we don't. But we do have this carbon trim around the wheel arch. And in fact, this entire section here is full carbon. Out here it's painted, but this is exposed carbon. And look at the size of these vents. You often get vents on supercars, but they're nowhere near this size. It's massive, but I actually quite like it. One more thing, this badge, that's not the official Mustang Dark Horse badge. That is Clive Sutton's interpretation. It's a bit cute, but I actually quite like it. This bonnet is, of course, full carbon, as you can see. You can opt to get it painted body color or not body color, as a lot of Mustang owners do, but why would you? If you're spending all that cash on carbon, why not show it off, especially on a Mustang? Love these enormous vents as well, giving you a little glimpse of the supercharger. And we also got carbon down here on this upper bumper section, plus carbon for your front splitter. I probably wouldn't go carbon for my splitter though, because let's face it, that is gonna get smashed up pretty quickly, isn't it? Still, if you love carbon, you're gonna love this car. I'll be real with you. As mad as the interior and exterior modifications are, the real star of the show in this car is definitely the engine. As you know, the Dark Horse is basically the track-ready version of the standard GT, but the problem is, the Dark Horse isn't that much more powerful than the ordinary GT, certainly not in the UK. It only has around 7 horsepower more.
Because of emissions regulations here in Europe, Ford wasn't able to really push the performance further than we've seen for the last decade or so. And that's where Clive Sutton comes in, using the standard Coyote engine, but adding a 2.7-litre Ford Performance supercharger on top.
You can hear it. Goodness me, you can hear it. And you can definitely feel it. 800 horsepower, well, 799 PS with 870 Newton meters of torque. Monstrous. Honestly, it just pulls for days. You never run out of run. You put your foot down and it keeps on pulling. Most cars tend to run out of puff once they reach a certain speed. This doesn't. It doesn't feel like you've got a V8 under here. It feels like you've got 2.
But it's not as terrifying as you might think. This is not a car that struggles to put its power down, accelerate even from a standstill, and the rear wheels hook up in a way that's scarcely believable. The Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tyres provide an uncanny amount of traction.
The other really refreshing thing about driving this car is the manual gearbox. We've got a 6-speed manual, which is just brilliant. And it's not the normal manual that you get in the standard Dark Horse. This is an MGW racing short shifter, which means the distance between each gear is minuscule, so it's really fun to use. In a lot of manual cars, you can feel like you're kind of stirring a porridge bowl, but in this, it's nice. It's click, 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 boom! The other cool thing is we've got rev matching, so you don't have to heel and toe if you don't want to, or you can't. So basically you shift down, and the car automatically blips the engine. It raises the revs automatically. So you feel like a racing driver without actually having to have any of the talent. Nice.
It's also loud, very, very loud. It only uses a cat-back exhaust system, no long tube headers or straight piping here. The catalytic converters are still in place, but it's very, very noisy on the outside.
People will hear you for miles in this thing, they really will. I left the house the other day, and when I came back, my wife said she could hear me for 15 minutes after I'd gone. It was that loud. It can be obnoxious if you got it in the loudest exhaust modes, but luckily you can actually hit a bit of a mute button on the dash and it quiets down a bit. But the beauty is it doesn't really drone on and on. A lot of cars on the motorway can be dreadful to drive because they're so loud, but this, yeah, really well judged.
And that's a good thing. It means the car is usable day to day, even on long journeys without being antisocial everywhere you drive. But when you drive, there is of course plenty of potential to be very social, especially when it concerns meeting like-minded petrol heads.
Nice wheel.
Yourself too, GT350, nice. It's a Dark Horse, but modified, so it's Clive Sutton.
All right.
So 800 horsepower. Yeah, nice man, cool.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you.
Take care, brother.
You too, bro. Stang gang? That's the thing about driving a Mustang. You meet other people who drive Mustangs and you are in the club. I love that. Where was I? Oh yeah, at the start of this video, I was kind of wondering whether this car would be too much for Britain. The thing is, it's not, you know, it might have 800 horsepower, it might have torque for days, but pretty much anyone can drive this thing. It's really surprisingly well behaved. You put your foot down, even in a bend, and yeah, if you're not respectful, it will spit you out. But generally speaking, this isn't an animal. It doesn't want to kill you. It's on your side. It puts the power down in a way that doesn't feel at all dangerous. The steering is meaty, but still manageable. The clutch is fairly light. The suspension is a bit lower, but it still rides really well. Honestly, I wouldn't have a problem letting my nan drive this. She'd quite like the interior. Might as well. I think the best way I can sum this up is that it feels like a Mustang with a lot more power when you want to deploy it. A Mustang turned up to 800, but not in a way that feels like it's going to twist itself in knots. This just feels really well sorted. This is the Mustang that Mustangs want to be. This is a Mustang for people who want to enjoy the full potential of their cars.
Downsides? Well, the suspension does occasionally rub in the wheel arches. Pretty standard for a modified car with lowered suspension. And it's very thirsty. The fuel economy drops to single digits with ease, and the range, don't expect much more than 200 miles. And then there's the price, between $135,000 and £165,000 depending on spec. The standard car is less than half that. The good news though is that even with these modifications, the CS800DH still comes with a 3-year 36,000-mile factory warranty, with Clive Sutton providing an extra 3-year 36,000-mile warranty on their bespoke modifications. So there's peace of mind. Check out the link in the description to find out more about Clive Sutton and the cars they modify. I've owned a CS Mustang personally and enjoyed every year I had with it.
I love the Mustang. I love the Mustang GT. I love the Dark Horse. But if you're the kind of person that just wants more speed, more power, more performance, more noise, more everything, this is what you go for.
Is it too much? In a world with so few true sports cars, where the ones that remain are rarely analog, rarely manual, and almost never supercharged, where cars don't sound like this, don't feel like this, don't connect like this, I'd argue the CS800DH isn't too much at all. In fact, it's exactly what we need. Right here, right now, more than ever.